YouTuber subscribers and friends. It is 55 degrees outside right now. It is chilly. Heading to the park and do some exercise. So I've been doing a lot of research, a lot of readings on the internet, and my whole life I've been infatuated with time travel and multi-universes and string theory. And this Mandela effect has really got me going here. Last night my wife, she brought home from Indonesia, she brought home a lot of stuff, snacks and stuff like that, drinks from Indonesia. And she swears up and down that this special fruit juice that she brought home for me, for my diabetes, that the labels had English labels on them. And she swears up and down that it had English labels. And I told her, no, it doesn't. It has, everything has Indonesian writing on it. Why would something you bring from Indonesia have English labels? And she got in an argument with me. No, it had English labels on it. And all the boxes and on the labels on the bottles, they're all in Indonesian, because I wanted to research the stuff she was giving me so I could look it up on the internet and see what the ingredients are and what it does and what's it for and stuff like that. And there's no labels in English at all. Even my son, I showed it to my son, and it doesn't have, he even agrees with me, it doesn't have English labels. So she texted her brother and his girlfriend, which is the one who gave her these drinks in this Indonesian special jelly made from dates. And they said, yeah, they have English labels on them. That's why they gave them to her. And they took a picture and they texted her a picture of the labels. It's all in English. But I told my wife, no, I showed her. It's in Indonesian. And sure enough, it's in Indonesian. And she's freaking out. She's like, no way, no way. These were English labels. That's why I brought them, because I know you like to research this stuff, look it up, and see what you're drinking or eating. I do that with every single thing that I have. I love to do research. And right off the bat, my son said, oh my God, Mom, Mandela effect is happening. And she gets irritated every time we talk about Mandela effect. But yeah, sitting here in my truck letting the heater warm up. First time I've turned the heater on in a while. But yeah, it's chilly. I'm going to go get my exercise on. But I'm infatuated with time travel, string theory. I've talked about this. Anybody who knows me, I've talked about time travel. I've talked about multi-universes. Scientists say string theory. Scientists say anything that can happen is happening, will happen, could happen, has already happened, or is going to happen somewhere on some timeline, some string theory, multi-universes. And the more and more I do research about this Mandela effect, the more amazing it is to me. I'm infatuated with time. I got a lot of clocks in my house, a lot of them. And every time I take a nap, when I wake up, first thing I always ask is what time is it or what year it is. And at first, when I first started dating my wife, she thought that was weird, but 18 years later, she's used to it now. But let me head to the park. That wind does not make it any warmer out here. This is very cold. The coldest day so far of the year, where I have to wear freaking a jacket and turn the heater on. So I have a lot of clocks. I said this earlier, I have a lot of clocks in my house. I'll show you just how many right here. I got a clock in my truck. I got a clock right here. Another one here. One more here. This one here, been dropped so many times, it's held together with tape. One right here that's always flashing. One right here. Two in the kitchen, one there. One right there. One in the bedroom where my kids sleep. Two in the bathroom. One there. And one here that's never plugged in. Don't know why. And one on my cell phone. Like I said, I am obsessed with time. I watch a lot of movies with time. Matter of fact, my favorite movie about time is Back to the Future. I've seen that movie at least 100 times. All three of them. I love that movie. Time Cop, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Anything that has to do with time, I'll watch it. And I'll watch it over and over and over and over and over. And I guess that's why I'm so, I don't know, I wouldn't say obsessed, but intrigued by this Mandela effect. Now, like I said, I don't watch TV. I haven't watched TV in forever, even though I've got 5 TVs in my house. But my wife is the only one that actually watches TV. My kids are too busy on their iPads or their cell phones, computers, or on the internet talking to their friends, Snapchat, stuff like that. And man, it is cold. It's hard to breathe in this cold air. And so I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of reading on the internet. I got a lot of magazines I read, books and stuff like that. I've always loved reading, because before the internet came, I would always go to this Barnes and Nobles or bookstores and stuff like that, just sit in there and just read for hours. Just intrigued by reading. Knowledge is power. Man, I should have wore sweatpants. I am freezing. So here's what kicked it off for me, the Mandela effect. If you watch my videos, I have a lot of maps in my house also, along with clocks, because I love history and I love traveling, so got a lot of maps. And I was walking past my map on the wall, and I noticed that the continents look different on the map, especially Australia, New Zealand, because the 2 places that I've always wanted to go. And I thought, oh my God, there's something wrong with this map, because New Zealand is not underneath Australia. And I started looking at my other maps, and sure enough, they were all showing the same thing. So that made me go to the internet and do a search for New Zealand, where it's at on the internet. And maybe the maps that I had were mistakes. And that's how I stumbled onto the Mandela effect. So I'm not trying to convert anybody or convince anybody what's going on. All I'm saying is, do your own research. Check it out, because this is intriguing, what's going on in the world. Because they say Nelson Mandela died in 2013, and he died in South Africa. He was the president of South Africa, and he died in 2013. I don't have any memory of that. And when I started researching more and more about the Mandela effect, I started finding that there's a lot of other people that had the same memories of history as I do. And they're saying the same thing. They're making videos too, saying the same things. What's going on? Bernstein Bears, Queens, a song, We Are the Champions. That was the second thing that kind of blew my mind, the way that song ends, because I have a memory of the way it ends. My wife has the same memory of the way it ends. And for me, I have no memory of Nelson Mandela getting out of prison, becoming the president of South Africa, and dying in 2013. Because I clearly remember Nelson Mandela dying July 23rd, 1991. Because I was working in a warehouse at the time. And for a company in Florida, a grocery store line called Winn-Dixie, and their store product was a product called Deep South, and I worked in that warehouse. And the reason I know the date and everything, the year, and at the time I didn't even know who Nelson Mandela was, and never even thought about it that much until now. And the reason I remember Nelson Mandela dying on July 23rd, 1991, because that's all everybody talked about in the break room in lunchtime, was that this Nelson Mandela guy died in prison. And that's why I know. And there's things that happen to you in life at a certain date and time that you never forget. And I've never forgot that. Same thing with Gene Wilder dying. He died a long time ago, and just recently they said he just passed away again. The guy from Willy Wonka. Come on, Willy Wonka, the Chocolate Factory. I've seen that movie at least 20, 30 times. He died in the mid-80s. Gomer Pyle, the actor that plays Gomer Pyle, he died in the mid-80s too from AIDS. And if you Google him, he just recently married his boyfriend of like 50 years or something like that. I mean, this is crazy. I'm not saying that those things didn't happen. I'm just saying those things didn't happen in my timeline, in my history. And that's what's the weirdest thing. And as I was doing this research, I found a video say that 3% of the people, the population on the planet, are noticing the Mandela effect. I'm like, that's a very low percentage, 3%. But it's happening, and it changes you. Once you find that one thing that you know for a fact existed, like Jiffy peanut butter, now it just says Jif. Fruit Loops, now it's F-R-U-I-T, now it's F-R-O-O-T. When you know something for a fact, it existed, and now it's completely different, and it's almost impossible to find the proof. It really flips a light switch on in you to make you want to research what's going on, and that's what's going on with me. And then it's happened to my son, and now last night, my wife with these Indonesian labels. My wife's brother's girlfriend sent her a picture of the label. And sure enough, it's in English. But the ones in my house are in Indonesian. And I know that feeling my wife is having, because she was last night denying. No way. There's no way. No way. When I left Indonesia, these labels were in English. I made sure of that. And I told her, listen, I know, I believe you, okay? I believe you. Because I've seen some really weird things happen when I'm doing this research online. It says one thing, I'll get up, go get a drink, or go to a restaurant, come back, and then it's saying something else. Like, I was telling my wife last night, Jesus Christ, to everybody I know that believes in Christianity and believes in the Bible and religious, know that Jesus died on the cross. Well, now the Bible scriptures are saying he died on a tree. Or he was hung on a tree. Go look them up in Acts and Psalms and stuff like that, the scriptures. Some of them you can still find, it says he dies on a cross. Some of them says he died on a tree. And that is the strangest thing ever. Same thing with the lion will lay down with the lamb. It's saying the wolf will lay with the lamb now. And my wife and I was talking about this morning. She's like, I can't even believe it, that the label's in Indonesia. It's the disbelief that makes you start wondering what's going on. It's just, you're so positive, you're 100% positive that it said this, and then when you see it, it makes you question your reality, your saneness. But I'm not crazy, because I'm finding proof of the history that I had. And I'm going to show you some proof here in a minute. In my timeline in history, Nelson Mandela died July 23rd, 1991. And I have proof. After many hours of research and looking and reading online, I found my proof. I'm not crazy. My memories are true. At least to me they are. I found this website for this book in South Africa. You can research it yourself. And I'll show you proof here in a minute that Nelson Mandela, in my timeline, in my history, died July 23rd, 1991. And he died in prison. But this timeline, this history says that he died 2013. Now, I'm not trying to convince you or convert you into my believings. All I'm trying to say is what my history, my timelines are. And I'm proving to myself and to anybody else who has the same history or same memories that Nelson Mandela died in 1991, July 23rd. Alright, so here's the proof. Go all the way down to the bottom, right here. It says, if you do a Google book search for a Western Cape branch of the South African Council for English Education 1990, South African Literature, English, and then type in Nelson Mandela died, you find the following quote. When Nelson Mandela died on the 23rd of July 1991. Now it says here, please keep in mind that this book was published on October 1st, 1991. And it says, so here it is, undeniable proof, written in black and white, 22 years before Mandela's alleged death in 2013. Everybody thinks he died in 2013, that he got out of prison, became president of South Africa, and then died 2013, when my proof of my history, my memories, my timeline, he died July 23rd, 1991. That's the date I remembered he died, and he died in prison. So if you scroll down, it says right here, were it not long enough to bridge the vast differences between blacks and whites, the chaos that erupted in the ranks of the ANC when Nelson Mandela died on the 23rd of July, 1991. See that? That's my memory. And I'll put this link in the description along with that CERN scientist, anonymous CERN scientist video also. Alright, there you have it. That is my proof. Now I know what you're going to say, well anybody can put that online, but what are the chances of somebody putting that online and then weeks of research, me finding it later? You can, like I said, research it yourself. Go research that book. Look at the copyright date that the book was printed like it says it was. To me, that's just proving that my memories, my histories are sane and correct for me. That my timeline, Nelson Mandela, never made it out of prison and never became president of South Africa. So, another thing that I found, and I'll put in the description box, I found a video where it shows, you can watch it yourself and come up with your own conclusions if you believe it or not. It shows a anonymous CERN scientist on the chat room talking about they're responsible for the Mandela effect and why they're doing it. They're saying that January 2012 the Earth was destroyed, and this timeline they're trying to replace the original timeline with these changes so that hopefully nobody notices, but 3% of the population are waking up and they're realizing that there's something different going on in the planet. Now whether these changes are good or whether they're bad, I have no idea. All I know is the changes are real, my memories are real, and the Nelson Mandela effect is real. So many celebrities are dying and then years later coming back and re-dying again. I mean, the only possible way that could happen is if they're clones. And don't even get me started on clones, because that's a whole nother story. But what's your reality telling you? I understand there's a lot of people that are too busy with their day-to-day lives and paying bills, dealing with children, dealing with work, freaking cars breaking down, you know, their own issues and their own problems, that they're just way too busy to realize what's going on under their noses, or maybe they just don't care what's going on. But I do care what's going on, and I don't know where this is headed, but it's real. So I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. As always, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and go down in the description box and click on that video and watch that video about that anonymous CERN scientist, because some weird things going on in this world, man. Thanks for taking the time to watch my videos. I'm gone. Get going.